So yeah, it's 6:32. We do have a quorum, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Audio seems to be working at least reasonably for those of us on the phone. I'm not sure how it is for you there at Town Hall.
Well, you got
okay, thumbs up. Okay.
that.
Okay, good deal. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? If not, would someone want to make a motion to go ahead and approve the agenda?
This is Paul. Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We approved the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so it looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 0.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I just want to make note that we're misspelling my last name. It only has one T. It's not a big deal, but I just thought I'd mention it.
Oh, okay. Nate, you got that?
Yes, thank you. I'll second that and we'll fix moving forward.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from December 14th. Any discussion or corrections? If not, I would entertain a motion on that one.
Move to approve the minutes from our last.
Okay.
Paul, second.
Okay, thank you. Oh, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes from December 14th. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, 4-0 on that. Public comment. Nate, did we have anyone signed up for public comment?
No, we did not.
Okay. None. On to our new business. 012022-01-11 Falls Avenue, the deck replacement. We'll go ahead and do the staff report on that, Nate.
Yeah, just a note, I think, and I'm going to change the way I think we number these permits unless anyone has an objection. I think I'm just going to, this is not the case, but I think from now on, I'm going to name them by date received, just so I don't have to go back and say, oh, how many do we have in January already? It's just kind of a small time saver. But anyway, so this one is just a application for a new deck that does have a kind of roof cover on it.
Whatever works best for administratively for you.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, so this is the application. The applicant Shobi Spear, Colorado Custom Built, on behalf of Zequas, is requesting the consideration for a new deck. It does have a part of it, or roughly half of it, has a roof covering on it. But as noted here, the application was received and paid for December 30. Applicant also paid license, and the construction plan has been submitted to Pikes Peak Regional for their process. And so this is the removal of an old deck and replacement with a new one. The materials are Trex composite. The colors are toasted stand with a black hog wire panel as the between the railings. And I've included a color he included a color and examples of what it will be. We can do that in a moment. The footprint is slightly larger, being replaced, but does not protrude toward the side property lines further than the existing house walls. I made note of that just because we did not receive an ILC or anything, but we did receive a drawing with dimensions. The applicant did mention, I may have forgot to put it in. Oh, no, so right here, they were able to track the site measurements from electrical poles that had marked on one side, and the neighbor to the east recently had their property line marked. So they used those for the measurement. And so just moving forward here, we have the kind of the site, general site relative to the town. We have the measurements on the parcel, which as measured are definitely clear setbacks. And then here's the Trex material color and an approximate example of the those wire panels that are being used for the sides of the deck. And the rest is just the typical the architectural and design drawings with the deck framing plan and the deck attachment sheet for Pikes Peak Regional. I did share the agenda with the applicant, but it was a little late. I thought I had emailed him the last week when I emailed everybody else, but I forgot, so I sent it to him this afternoon, so it might have been late notice for him. So I apologize for that.
Okay, and I'm sure it's in the packet, but is this is this a 5,000 or 10,000 square foot lot?
Yeah, it's the 5,000
Okay.
family district.
Yep.
So with the side being 5, it you know, I don't have I don't have setbacks, just with the description of how they were able to.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions for Nate? And Nate, I don't see anyone online. Is anyone there physically for the applicant?
No, as I said that, yeah, I got the agenda out to him a little bit. I forgot to CC him on the agenda notification last week, and I just realized that this afternoon. So
Okay,
that was my bad.
that's okay. Again, commissioners, any questions, comments? Hearing none, I would actually entertain a motion.
Todd, this is Paul. Move to approve the deck construction at 11120 Falls Avenue.
Do we have a second?
This is on Florence, isn't it, or no?
Nope.
No, it's on Falls.
It's on Falls, okay. Second.
Close to us. It's down the road from us.
Here's the old.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved. Did I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the deck replacement 11120 Falls Avenue. All in favor, say aye.
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 Do we have any opposed? Okay, passes. Item B, we're missing someone, and I would really like to have them here because I was planning on nominating them. But with the illness, I kind of got a little slack and letting them know that this was coming up tonight. I am running, obviously I think it's gotten out. I'm running for mayor, and I think that's gonna pretty much chew up my time for the next 3 to 4 months. And I think it's probably time for me to let someone else take the reins. So with that, I wish, like I say, I wish Gregory was here because I was actually, since he's vice chair, I was going to nominate him, but
You know what they say about people being absent?
yeah, I know. I was just sitting there thinking that. It's like, nope, nope, you were absent. Guess what? So I would open up the floor for motions for chair and vice chair and secretary.
And may I comment here? I don't, and maybe this is a question for mayor as well. I'm willing to volunteer secretary. I know that Nancy with other committees as well, or at least the trail committee. And I plan on being at these meetings indefinitely, so I don't mind secretary if that's fine, staff member. So that with our having that work session in a couple of weeks, I don't know if it would make sense to delay this until everyone is present. I don't know if that's not or a good option at least.
We
Your
could
mayor-
do that. I think we're supposed to elect new officers really the first, but you know, I don't know if there's anything that would prohibit it from moving into the, into our work session, and that would just be the first item of business. And then I can contact a couple folks that, I think would probably work out well in that position.
Well, I cannot be at the work session, as you'll know. So we could also go ahead and do this tonight, and then if there's any issues, it could be revisited.
We could, that's another option. We could hold nominations. We just wouldn't, I would, if it involves people that aren't there, I'd recommend holding off until at least that person's there. But we could go ahead and hold nominations and then just say when we come back for our work session, go ahead and approve the nominations. There's a couple different ways to handle it, but
Can I talk? This is Nancy. Sorry. Can I talk to the part of being a secretary? So I was filling in just as a favor because it was such a low staffing in the town staff. So I am more than happy and thrilled that Nate wants to take over as the secretary. But I was very happy to fill in when I could. So thank you, Nate.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So commissioners, of those options, which one sounds more feasible to you?
Hey Todd, this is Paul. I think it makes sense to at least engage in the nomination process tonight, and then if we could follow up with the approval once we have all hands on deck. I did have one question. Is there a requirement that the chair and vice chair have offsetting terms, like they're not term doesn't expire at the same time, or is that not an issue?
Since we vote every year, I don't think it's an issue. I'm not aware of any code items off the top of my head that say we've got to split the term, so to speak.
The mayor is confirming that's not an issue.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make some nominations since I won't be there for the planning
Okay.
committee. I move to appoint Gregory as chair of the planning commission, and I move to appoint Sean Ives as the vice chair of the planning commission. And I move to appoint Nate as the secretary of the planning commission. And we need to choose a board member. Is that the last thing I need to do? Alternate member?
Well, we would need to, we basically need to have someone willing to maybe jump in. If you know of someone that's expressed interest,
No.
and
I don't.
I don't either. We're kind of
And let-
running short on volunteers, so.
And I can comment on that. I kind of jumped the gun on that. The mayor reminded me that we needed an application for that. So rather than just nominating someone out of the blue or even that's on me. So we'll try to recruit some people and get some applications in. I just thought it'd be good about, especially elections coming up. There may be almost definitely people that won't be on plan commission anymore because you can't serve on multiple boards or commissions.
So Sean, you're the only one here besides Nate that's been nominated. Thoughts?
Well, I do appreciate the nomination, but I will be I will be running for a trustee position. So
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Our commission's going to get gutted here.
Yeah, potentially. We need to kind of start beating the bushes if you know people that might be interested.
Yeah.
So the other thing to consider is that even it will be a few months election, so we can always adjust later according to to the results of the election. At least we would have someone in that position.
Could we just go ahead and elect tonight the same people that we've already got, like Todd and Gregory, and just leave it at that for now?
And then just revisit after the election.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
So I guess my new nomination.
Okay, who's your new nomination?
Todd is chair, Gregory is vice chair. Heck, we can keep Nancy as secretary, or we can do either way.
Oh, she just let out a holler.
So she's liking the nomination of Nate. So okay, let's do that.
I think especially with some of the work Todd will be doing in the near future for with the code rewrite and trying to wrap that up. I mean,
Yeah.
he does, and continuing to have the title, and then we just it when we. And
Yeah, you talked a lot, but I think I got your meaning that we go with Todd and Gregory and Nate for our 3 nominations.
Okay, and we can go ahead and vote on myself and Nate. At this, I'm comfortable with that, but we need to leave the vice chair open since he's not here. I'd like to at least give him a heads up.
Okay. He's officially been nominated. So.
Okay.
Yes, unless somebody needs to second that motion.
The only ones like I said, the only ones that really I'm comfortable with voting on tonight are myself as chair and Nate as secretary. We could have a second on that motion and finish it up at our work session.
This is Cole. I'll second the nominations for chair and secretary.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we approve myself as chair and Nate as secretary, and then revisit vice chair at our work session. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, so that passed. And then once the elections actually take place, then yeah, we'll have to we'll have to readjust more than likely.
I have a question about that, Todd. So
Yeah.
once the election takes place, how quickly do people assume those offices and we have to make adjustments with our commission?
Good question, Mayor. Could you maybe shed some light on how quickly things take place?
Here, I'll give her my phone here. I think that'll
Okay.
be.
Hey, everybody. So the election takes place first Tuesday. As long as there's no sort of dispute or anything, which I wouldn't anticipate, the new board is sworn in on the next meeting, used to be the third Tuesday in April.
Okay.
So this commission meets the second Tuesday, so we should be good with our results and be able to make changes in plenty of time before you're sworn in.
Yeah. True.
I think it goes that way.
Okay. Thanks, Jane.
That was easy.
Okay. Anything else on that item? If not, we'll move into some old business. The code rewrite status. And Nate's put a little description in here. We had a phone call with Nina last week. I had some, what I consider to be significant concerns with what was being presented. And the most significant concerns were along the lines of, and bear with me just a minute, the table 7A, and then the minor major thresholds. What was originally in there, the threshold was set at less than 5 dwelling units would be minor, and under the table 7A, that in combination, that combination would have basically eliminated planning commission, because everything would be minor, because we just don't, I mean, I don't know if we've ever gone over 5 dwelling units, unless we were to have like a hotel or duplexes going in. So I kind of squawked that. I think it kind of, threw a curve at Nina. And so Nina and I are going to be meeting as soon as we can get together. And I'm going to kind of walk her through some of these items. The other item that was kind of at least a big deal to me, was I'd really like to see us define what we need in a site plan. And so to get that definition in there, but really the big meat was trying to clean up that table 7A and that's the table that kind of defines who's responsible for what within the town. For example, minor things that fall into that minor site plan type of thing, that would be completely town staff. And then we would, in the planning commission, we would be the appellate for that. And there's other things like that through that table. And some of them I had some concerns with, because like I say, I know these are probably copied over from larger towns, and to try to get that to fit into a town the size of Green Mountain Falls may take some adjustments. And I think Nina's concerned about the potential adjustments. One of the things I'm contemplating for the minor major threshold are basically fences, decks, and any accessory building that would be, say, less than 8 by 8 or 10 by 10, so we don't get into garages. And so that was kind of my thought process behind that. And so I've sent in, another file to Nina and basically highlighted those items. And there's some other couple more minor things. Those were the more meatier ones. Things like having our notification via the website, I think currently it's specified as like newspaper, and we don't really have a quote unquote town newspaper. And then there was one section that kind of dealt with things where you wouldn't have to come back to the town, and I wasn't too keen on some of that. You know, it's basically with all of our right of way and encroachment issues we have. I thought that someone ought to at least be looking at those, whether it be someone on staff or planning commission. So that's where we're kind of at. Nina and I have not gotten together yet. I think she was planning on being maybe in Woodland Park around the 20th. I should be well over the bug by then. And I'll sit down with her and kind of go over those items. I'm sure these things have a ripple effect. One of her concerns was she's already blown through about 2/3 of the budget, which is concerning, because I want to make sure that we're getting something in there that fits the town. And then I've also asked Nate to get a copy of her contract and make sure she's providing what she's supposed to with the contract.
Yeah, I thought there were like a lot of more sections we were going to deal with. I know a huge concern for me was just in our building codes around preventing fires. I know that Colorado Springs has a stricter building code than we do here in Green Mountain Falls with decks, non-flammable materials, those kinds of things. And we don't have that yet. How are we going to get that, Tom?
That should be coming in our next installments. We've only had installment 1, which is the administrative section.
So she's not saying she's completely out of money. It's just for this particular installment.
Well, she says she's burned through about 2/3 of the budget. So that concerns me.
That is concerning because I feel like we've just not even brushed the surface of what needs to be done.
Yeah, which is.
Can I comment on?
Yeah, go ahead, Nate.
So from Nina's perspective, I know that originally when she started the project, there was a planner who was part-time, but nevertheless worked truly part-time versus when I came on as planner, I was sort of part-time. But there were two, that planner, Julia, and an intern that we had that was working on code as well. And so her assumption from the beginning was that she would have some significant town resources to help the project. And so that ended and, ended up taking more of her time for various reasons. Second point, Nina, about what it would take to adopt some sort of, I forget the technical term, but the building code that would be more more fire resistant building code. And that's not something that she's tackling in this. We would have to talk with Pikes Peak Regional Building, and we would have to make sure that they understand what we're trying to do, and that there's so much integration, or there's the town and Pikes Peak Regional focus on different things. Right now, the town does not really focus on building code at all. It focuses on zoning and architectural reviews. So there's a lot of work that would still need to be done to accomplish that. But it is something that's possible, just not during this project. And so I think to sum up kind of her goal and my thoughts on trying to get this particular project done, really kind of modernizing the code that we have, and maybe changing some things based on best practices as a legal professional and her experience as a city attorney for various communities. But there's not a lot of time or money for a lot of back and forth and sort of you know, I don't want to put this in a negative way, because I think the planning commission should look at the final product in detail and talk about some different points that the town could adjust before or the planning commission could adjust before recommend final version. But best to just sort of let her kind of continue on the path she's on, with the modernization, the sort of obvious improvements to our code. And then we can perhaps have a session maybe in hopefully in February or March that, the planning commission then could go through the points that are, for lack of a better word, negotiable. Point Todd was saying about what constitutes a minor versus major subdivision, what that threshold is, what sort of project is going to be considered a minor site plan versus a major site plan. And I think that the planning commission can do a lot of that and change some of her final product to details that make sense for the town. But and then so once that's done, then we'll have a really good final product, I think, to recommend to the board, if that all makes sense.
It does. What do we need to do? I mean, I love what Todd has laid out, and that he's willing to meet with her and cover these things. I think that's a great way to do it. What do you need from us tonight?
Are you me, Todd? I guess
there's no action necessary tonight. From what I've kind of laid out with the major minor type things, does anyone have any concerns with that? Because when I meet with her, I'm gonna kind of spell it out. It's like, okay, 5 dwellings is probably not gonna work for us. We're probably gonna need to have something that kind of makes more sense for the town. Because like I say, once that code goes into effect, we would never be looking at anything, because we wouldn't cross that over 5 dwelling threshold.
Oh, obviously, we have the same concerns that you do, Todd, and if you can address them with her, that sounds like the way to handle it.
Okay. Like I say, I think she was saying she's going to be in the Woodland Park area around the 20th, and I'll hopefully we can set something up and get together, and I can just walk through it with her and see what's going on. And right in the middle, get a spam call. I don't like spam calls.
And just as a reminder, what you and Nina are meeting about still just installment 1. So we still have 2 that tackle a lot of the other. Installment 1 is really procedural. Some of the installments 2 and 3 are going to be a little bit more of the meat of it. And then she's also recommending that we have basically an administrative manual where some will exist that don't need to be defined in code, so that, if there are small procedural things, things that can be changed without rewriting code every time, those types of things will be that administrative manual. So there's still, quite a bit of work for her to do that she's still on track to do. Just that if we continue to, like I said, I'm not saying this in a negative way, but if we continue to question, every installment, the depth that we have so far, then I'm just scared that we're going to run out of money and she'll just, we won't have a finished product. But as long as we have that finished product that is completed by legal expert, then we can kind of modify things to the town's needs based on the planning commission's action, if that makes sense. And then we can, and then I think
Nate, are you suggesting that Todd not meet with her and that we just move forward and make our changes that are obvious later? Or what? I just want to be clear.
I don't necessarily think they should not meet. I just think we've talked, and Becky and Todd and I have all talked about that, and that was fine. But I just after the meeting that we had, I just felt like we don't want to, I don't know.
Well, we don't want to derail the effort, but we need to make sure we get I would hope we can make sure we get the major items that we feel's needed for the town. And
Todd, does it make sense to just tell her to move forward with installment 2 and 3 and then just wait to the end to see what all doesn't fit for us? I mean,
well, the concern I have is the ripple effect. And
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
I'd really like to meet with her to see, okay,
Yeah.
what is the real ripple effect? Because I think she was concerned about that as well. It may be something we may have to consider if we get to a point where we've blown the budget and
Yeah.
and
Well,
whatnot. We need to
I really wish this had been, of course, we haven't seen her in a long time, but I wish that this would have been mentioned sooner, that we had done so little and run through so much of the budget. This is the first time we're hearing about it.
Yeah, and I'll review the contract before next week, and then so the plan for the work session is really to go through installments 2 and 3. So those 2 done as well. So basically, kind of knock those out, and then still have time for some feedback after that as well. But just like Todd said, I just don't want to prolong it if the money.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you brought it to our attention, Nate.
But I think, we'll have whatever advised as a final, then we can analyze it, kind of go through it. I mean, each of you can review it for your own concerns, and then we can kind of consolidate those comments and just have a marathon work session where we work through all the concerns and probably vote, I guess, if we need, on certain items, or so the planning commission can come out away with a consensus on certain points, and then have a draft to recommend to the board.
Okay, any other discussion on our code rewrite? Is there any other business we need to go over? Okay, hearing none, we'll adjourn the meeting at 7:10 p.m. Thanks, everyone.